stay ready.
You see Annabelle like trying to land a helicopter.
I told Claire she should sit on the table and just
blooper for everybody.
hold it.
Everybody doing good?
Yeah.
Just going back to the game against Florida State, was really proud of our guys and our staff. I thought it was a good team win. And the things that we emphasized showed up. You know, we wanted to dominate the line of scrimmage and play physical football against a team that had been very good on their line of scrimmage. When it comes to how much their defensive line had penetrated, you know, the rushing yards that they were able to keep people at. No running back had 100 yards rushing on them in the season. And so, you know, it was really a demeanor challenge to our guys, and I thought they rose up. You know, they had 0 sacks. We had 5. They had 5 TFLs. We had 10. We had 177 yards rushing, and Reggie had 100, and they were at 40 yards. So I thought just the demeanor of our guys, tight ends, running backs, O-linemen on offense was awesome. And defensively, you know, to have 15 plays in their backfield, which created some takeaway opportunities that we were able to capitalize on, was outstanding. You know, you want a turnover margin, and for us, that's something we stress. I thought our field position throughout the game was great by our special teams, giving us good field position. We had a lot of individual guys that, you know, had good games. I thought Ryan really played a good football game. He really managed things well and got us in a bunch of good run checks against their blitzes and threw the ball where he was supposed to. And Jacoby had a nice game, you know, made a bunch of plays and continues to be a really good route runner, catching the football and doing things after the catch. The one play I thought was really, really special play on the tip ball where he made some things happen. I thought Kerry Angeline made a really nice catch. Thayer had a 4th down catch, and you know, Kelvin continues to make plays for us. And I thought Kelvin really blocked well in that football game. You know, it was great to have Ricky back on the field with us, and you know, him and Reggie in combination of each other, I think is really good for our run game. And I thought, you know, O-line and the 6 guys we play up front, plus, you know, Dylan Ottenreith, I thought those guys sorted out a lot of different blitzes, and it was good. You know, the coaches had them ready. And defensively, the interception by Lorel was a really awesome play. Big-time play by him. It was fun. I thought, you know, Stephen Griffin in his first start forced a fumble early in the game, kind of got us going. And Tayshawn, for a true freshman, I thought really played a really good football game at corner. Our pass rush with Elias and Aleem was better than it's been, adding those guys in. We've got some young guys out there playing, and it's just fun seeing them progress. Chris Dunn had a great day for us, and will continue to. He's very consistent. Moving on to this week, military appreciation game and our last ACC home game for our seniors, and it is senior day for us. It was planned out that way prior to the 12th game being added, so a lot of travel arrangements were made by parents, and that's why we've kept it that way, if anyone was wondering. But we will honor our seniors before the game Thursday night, and so I hope that everybody can be there. It's a special group of guys, you know, to pay tribute to in their last ACC home game. And an in-state opponent for us that we're excited to play, and then on top of it, Bradley Chubb's coming back to have his jersey number honored during the game and put up there with the greats that we have. So a great thing for us, and Bradley, I'm glad that he can make it work, and his family will be here as well, with it being his bye week. When it comes to Wake Forest, you know, offensively, they're very good at what they do, and 32 points a game, almost 450 yards a game total offense, and they're balanced in the run game and the pass game, 225 each. And you know, they're unique in their RPOs and the way their quarterback rides the run game and isolate people in coverage. And then there's a lot of QB run game, which obviously with their quarterback being injured, we expect to see quite a bit of that. The 2 remaining quarterbacks are very athletic and different in their builds. And Jamie Newman we've had in camp here in high school and know a lot about him. And he's a big, strong guy with a big arm, and he can run. He's a 230-pounder. And then Kendall Hinton is a very athletic kid that we've seen a lot of film on as a quarterback over the last 4 years. So, you know a lot about those guys. You know, I think that Dortch he leads the ACC in all-purpose yardage and receptions. He's a dynamic player. He's really good. He's fun to watch and difficult to play against. And I think he's, without a doubt, you know, the guy that can do things for them on offense. And their outside perimeter receivers are big and do a good job catching the football and tracking the football. They've got 4 starters back on their offensive line. You know, defensively, they play hard. I mean, you see their guys chasing the football. They strip the football. They keep the ball in front of them a lot. You know, statistically, they haven't been impressive, but when you watch the effort they're playing with and the number of things that they're doing in a short week to get ready for it all is a challenge. So look forward to that. And more than anything, you know, just having the chance to be back in Carter Finley Stadium again and Military Appreciation Day, as you know, for me is special with my family ties, and several of our players have those family ties, so it's an honor to coach and have our players play in a game where the military is represented that way.
Do you see any similarities between the way that they use Greg Dortch and the way that you guys used Jalen Samuels in the past, and does that give you any, you know, information you can use in preparing for him?
He's never in the backfield. I mean, Jalen Samuels is a lot different player. I mean, he's just an incredible slot receiver that when they throw a ton of bubbles to him, and he's going to catch his slants and his glances and, you know, inside fade routes. And he's a really, really good slot receiver. He's really tough. He makes a lot of plays as a returner.
I know it's different teams and different year, but this one was one that you guys probably have had circled since leaving Winston-Salem last year. Do you have to remind your group about how much this one stung last year?
Probably not, but I will.
You mentioned the quarterback situation, guy out for the season, and familiarity with both of the other two. Is this an instance where the system is what it is, or because of how different those other quarterbacks are, that might not be the case for y'all?
Well, there's going to be some adjusting, obviously. I mean, we've seen both of these guys play quarterback. We played against Kendall one of the seasons I've been here, so we do know what he's capable of. A lot of their plays, even with the other quarterback, are designed quarterback runs if they can't throw the screen or throw the slant or whatever they got. Every one of their runs has an RPO. And so does it turn into more QB runs with those? Maybe. Maybe not. Their 2 tailbacks are really good, you know, so it's a short week. I mean, it'd be hard for them to change too much, you know. I think they're going to do what they do, and if they change up, then we'll have to adjust a little bit. But I think, you know, in my experience, it's already game week Wednesday. I mean, you can't just reinvent the wheel, you know. I mean, you got to go trust the DNA of your systems and play ball. And it's an opportunity for those 2 guys, and they were really good high school quarterbacks. We had them both in camp. We offered both of them and thought they were really good players.
I was going to ask about the short week, and is this, you know, against Clemson it was neutralized because you both had a bye week.
Yeah.
With Wake and their quarterback situation, does it almost neutralize the lack of preparation that y'all can now add in for 2 quarterbacks just as it does for them in the same sense?
It's just hard to say because I don't know their game plan, you know. I mean, it's hard to say. But the way we look at this game, we need to go be us. We need to go play. You know, we need to play the way that we played Saturday. We played fast. We were aggressive. Our guys didn't beat themselves. We didn't have a lot of penalties. We just played good, fundamental, tough football. And I don't care how many days you have. If you can play like that, then you have a chance to be a really good football team. And whether they're changing things or not changing things, it comes down to us being good technicians and executing our game plan.
You mentioned earlier Xavier Elias and then also Lynn McNeil kind of stepping up in this last game. You have guys all over that defensive line pushing for spots as well with Ibrahim Conti as well. I mean, how much does that kind of add to the pressure for the guys that are up front, the lead starters, and make them want to play harder and make them want to push even harder?
I don't think it has anything to do with how they play, to be honest with you. We have a rotation on our defensive line, and certain guys like Xavier has a role. But like Roseboro played nose guard in that game because we had 2 nose guards out. And so for him to be able to do that, and he was one of our players of the game, says a lot about him. You know, selfless teammate, working his butt off. I mean, you're a 270-pound guy in there taking on 600-pound double team. He's a tough kid. you know, but they don't look at the snaps as, hey, he made a play, you know. I mean, they're excited for him. They want that kid to make a play, and they know that being fresh is part of being a D lineman. You have to have a rotation, and I think the fact that Xavier can play some helps James play better because he's not as tired. He's not having to play 76 snaps in a game with all this up-tempo offense. I mean, I was breaking down Wake the other day, and it was play 105 of a game, you know, that many snaps. I mean, you can't do all that as a D lineman. You got to have a rotation going.
Coach, does a player's physical clock catch up on a Thursday game? I don't know if that's the right way of phrasing it, but could you address that?
I think if you don't educate your guys on how important it is to recover the right way, and that's what we talked about on Sunday, that it was game week Tuesday as we were in the meeting room. And so I'm, you know, encouraging them to take great ownership in their recovery of going to bed early. You know, normally on a Monday we'd be in here pretty early with the guys and let them sleep in today. They're going to come over later tonight because it's a night game, and so we'll do some things with them tonight actually. But yeah, I mean, we talk about, hey, here's the test and here's the plan, you know, and so we're going to do the right things. We're going to be smart. We're going to educate them on the right way to recover, and how we practice is a big part of that. And this this plan that we used last year against Louisville, and I thought our guys played really fast in that game. So I think the plan we have is really good, and now the guys have to, it's like a prescription you get at the doctor's office. I mean, he gives you the pills, you got to take them, you know. So the guys have to understand why we're doing it and then go do it and follow through with it, and they'll feel great, you know, by Thursday night if they do that.
What does having Bradley around do for the program in terms of having a guy that young players and possible recruits are here can look to as an example of what the end goal of this process can look like?
Oh, I think it's awesome to have him here, first of all. And we've had, I mean, last weekend BJ was here, Naheem came back during his bye week. Jacoby Brissett was here earlier in the year. I mean, to me, it's just a tribute to the experience they had when they were here. For them to want to take their 1 week out of their 16-game regular season to come here and hang out, it says a lot, I think, you know, just about the quality of experience that they had, the way that they feel about their alma mater, the way they feel about the coaches that coached them and the players that they played with. And I mean, BJ Hill's hanging out in our hotel Friday night. He wanted to eat breakfast with us Saturday morning. I mean, it just says a lot, I think, about the culture here and the way these guys are. And if I'm a young player and I'm at NC State and I'm seeing all these guys that I've been watching hanging out on their off week, I would think that would say something to me, you know, because they can go anywhere. Those guys got a lot of money now, you know. Take their off week and fly to the Bahamas if they wanted to. I mean, they're here watching football. I think it says a lot about them.
Do you expect Sugar E to be able to play?
I hope so. Yeah, I do. I mean, they're both way better. So, but we haven't had a practice yet. So, but I hope so. Yeah.
I want to try something here in year 6 together that I hope you'll entertain me here for a second,
Okay.
because I know these are not your favorite topics. The end of the first half. Did that go how you wanted it to go in terms of using the timeout, when you used the timeout? And
What are you talking about? The game we just played?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like a minute 15 or a minute 25, and it almost seemed like the guy popped up thinking there wasn't as much time on the clock as there was. The reason I ask, because obviously they had a lot of time then to respond.
When we were on defense, you're talking about?
No. When you were on offense,
Okay.
you were driving to this end zone. You got down to like the 4, and then you called the timeout. I think it was a minute 15 left.
Yeah, I don't think we were that tight when I did it back to the goal line. But we had made before the deal, we said if we're tackled in bounds here, let's
Call
use
the
it.
timeout. I just want to make sure that
Yeah,
was what
because you don't
were
know.
trying to
I
do.
mean, you hope you're going to score, right?
Right.
But you don't know, because ideally we'd run it down to 1 second, score a touchdown. But you don't know that that's going to happen, right?
Yeah, you did score on the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in that case, I wish I wouldn't have used it. But had we not, I mean, ultimately we want to score a touchdown in that situation, and obviously we don't want them to be able to go down and score either. So, you know, we got to stop them. But I think, you know, we used the timeout because we felt like if we get stopped and the clock's running, we don't want to be rushed and make a wrong call. You want to really have a good call made right there and have the time to make a good call.
Ricky Person with 3 touchdowns the other day, and when you have Gillespie going too, just talk about when you have those 2 guys going healthy at the same time. how that makes your offense go here?
Well, I've said it before. I just think in a offensive scheme, when you're blocking things and the runners are different, and you're fitting those runs as a defensive team, Reggie's different than Ricky. The ball gets there at a different speed. He's running over people and through people, and Ricky's putting his foot in the ground and cutting back or bouncing. And as a defender, it's just not the same. You can't just run in there and run in there and run in there, and it's the same. It's different. It's a different speed. It's different angles. So that change of pace, I think, helps, and it keeps those two guys fresh, you know, to have that rotation where when they're in there, they can really go. And so it's great having them back, and obviously hope to continue to have that rotation for the rest of the year.
Deontay Holden has had a lot of injuries and a lot to overcome. What have you learned about him this year, and your thoughts on him getting that 6th year?
You know, the thing that's impressive about him through all of it, because there were times where the doctors told him, like, we don't know if you should keep doing this, and he just said, I don't quit anything. I mean, he is really, really hard-headed in a good way. Like, he won't quit. And even when his foot was bad, you know, was getting bad information about where this could end up, he just said it'll work out. And to his credit, he's come a long way, you know, physically a long way. He's done a great job academically here, you know, so you've always seen that he has the bigger picture in mind. But it's really a neat deal for him to be able to play like this, and then to get a 6th year for him was because he missed really 3 years of football with the injuries.
I wanted to ask you about Reggie and Ricky and kind of what you spoke on. I just talked with Ricky earlier, and he pointed out the way that the Florida State game was almost a reversal of what we've seen from those two, in the sense that Reggie identifies himself as that rough and tumble short yard guy, and he's often the one at the end of the touchdown drives getting into the end zone. And Saturday that was a little bit of flipped. What caused that, and what does that show you about both of their versatility?
You know, I don't know if it's because Reggie or a pass got us down there, and Reggie was tired at that time, and so because Des likes the fresh guy to be in the game if he can, unless there's just certain plays that help the other guy more because of their skill set. They're both very capable in either situation, you know. It's just, and you know, obviously as a receiver out of the backfield, Ricky brings something. You know, he's longer, he's got more quick twitch speed right there coming out of the backfield, but. You know, I think it's great that those guys can both get touchdowns, though. I mean, you know, you don't want to be the guy that gets it down there and never gets to celebrate either. So it was good. You know, I was just really proud of Reggie for, you know, some of the things he did in that game. He wasn't just running straight ahead. I mean, he made some cuts in there, or they brought some blitzes that I thought for him were really, really good.
So are they aware that, I know Reggie had a 9-yard rush on the first snap, and I think like a 30-something later on that first scoring drive. Yeah. Do they know? Are they going to figure out that if you break the long one, you're getting pulled out for the TD?
I don't know about that. I don't think that's true, really, but you never know. We'll see. I mean, it's really on Coach Kitchens. He feels it out during the game. He does. And so, as you guys know, Ricky's been and Reggie have both been beat up throughout the year, so if he feels like they could be tired, then fatigue sometimes can hurt you that way, so he's making sure those guys are healthy too. That it? All right. You all have a good day.
Thanks, Dave.